Over the past few weeks, we've been talking about insights from my book Thrive, mindsets and skill sets needed to succeed in a world dominated by smart machines and intelligent algorithms. Today, we will talk about the importance of developing an actor's mindset. Developing an actor's mindset is about two things. Number one, the ability to observe nuances about things around us. Number two, ability to deal with emotions that we feel for ourselves and for others. So, which is empathy and emotional awareness or emotional intelligence. So, what do typically actors do, right? So, they are keen observers of things that are happening around them. They observe mannerisms, they observe how someone talks, how someone behaves, how does someone walks. Are there any patterns in behavior? Um, they are able to understand how someone is actually feeling by looking at how they are walking, how they're standing, their body language, their tone, their way of communication. And what this does is it becomes a fodder for them to kind of mix and match different elements of different things that they've watched somewhere and put that into a character that then becomes their own. Actors, by definition, are playing somebody else, which means that they're going to emote or show emotion that somebody else, the character, feels in a given situation. A lot of times you realize that we're all actors, not in the philosophical sense that the whole world is a stage and all of us are actors, but in practical terms. For example, you are talking to a colleague and your boss comes in, immediately you switch from being a colleague to becoming a employee. The boss leaves and someone who reports to you come in, and immediately you switch from being the employee to being the boss. The moment you go back home, you switch off from being an employee to becoming a father, to becoming a husband, and to becoming a brother or a son or a daughter-in-law or a son-in-law. And we do that really without missing a beat, right? Depending upon the context. As the context changes, we are able to move and shift into different roles. So the ability there exists. All we need to do is to leverage that ability in our leadership situations. Being intentional about what the situation is and what the situation requires, and emotional regulation. Both, when you put together and are smart about it, you will suddenly find that you are able to handle anything that comes along your way. I have a friend who creates a persona, says, my persona as a boss is X. Nothing controversial, it's just that as a boss, I want to behave this way. As a father, I want to behave this way. As a son, I want to behave this way. As a husband, I want to behave this way. And he's very intentional about it. So every time he switches roles, he brings that image or that character to play. Now, a word of caution here. Actors can also be very manipulative. Actors' mindset is a double-edged sword that way. We need to be very clear that we are doing this not to manipulate others into doing what we want them to do, but because it is the right thing to do. Now, the question then comes, how do I know whether it is the right thing to do or not? That's where you need to use your judgment. Ask yourself, am I doing this so that I get something out of it? Or am I doing this so that it is in service of the person that I'm interacting with or the situation that I'm working in? As long as the answer is in service of not just yourself, but of people around you, of the situation around you, then I think should be okay. Observe. Look at things around you. Look at people and how they react to situation. This is also how you learn, right? If you have a favorite boss, a leader that you look up to, observe them, what their mannerisms are, how they react to situations. When put in a spot, what do they do? What do they do to learn? What do they do to keep themselves abreast of what's happening in the world? Everything. You can learn a lot simply by observing people. You can do both, right? So you can learn what to do and what you should not do by observing others. You don't necessarily have to go through the same emotions. You don't have to necessarily go through the same situations for you to learn from those situations. That is all the actor's mindset enables you to do. In any given situation, what is the best role for you? So that it serves the needs of those around you or the situation demands it. Do no harm. That's the first principle of any successful person or leader. And I believe that each one of us is a leader once we made that choice. In a world where we're going to be surrounded by smart machines and intelligent algorithms, our ability to learn something without actually having to experience it is a huge advantage for us. When you combine that with the ability of software or robots to process humongous amount of data, makes it better for you and the smart machine or intelligent algorithm to work together. So you're better together. So next time when you are around in an MRT or in a bus station or in a crowded place, in a park, at home even, take a few minutes. Put down your device. Look around. Pick someone and observe what they're doing. Are you able to tell what they're feeling? Are you able to tell if they're on their phone, what is it that they are doing just by looking at them from a distance? Try it out. The more we do this, the better we get at it. This concludes the mindset, the different mindsets that I have written about in the book. So the next video, what we will do is talk about how do you identify which mindset is the right mindset to be in a given situation, and how do you switch those mindsets from one to the other so that you can benefit the most out of the ability to switch these mindsets as and when required. So until next video, thank you so much. You please take care. Have fun.